5-minute call. Potter Williams.
Very good choice.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, it used to be that we as Kiwis had a dream of home ownership. We used to dream of home ownership, but it was actually achievable. It was achievable. We used to be able to afford to buy homes. You know, my father, who came to this country in the late 1950s, a labourer who couldn't read and write, actually was able to afford to buy a home so that his family could grow up and live well. Decent home, decent living, that's what the Kiwi dream used to be about. But we've gone, in one generation, we've gone from a nation of home owners to a nation of home renters. In one generation, we've slipped that far. And who is it that rents? Who is it that rents? It's not people who earn in the top income levels. It's those who earn the least. In general, it's the lower income families. And through legislation that this government has introduced, the rights and the power of renters has diminished and been eroded time and time and time again. Who would want to be a tenant in this country when the power rests with the landlords? Now, don't get me wrong, there are some good landlords, there are some great landlords who actually invest in their properties, they maintain their properties, and they want to hang on to good tenants by making sure that they've got decent properties. But, Mr Speaker, there are some not so great landlords. There are some landlords, and we know of them in Canterbury, and my colleague, the Honourable Ruth Dyson, will back me up on this, where we've got people who have taken their earthquake insurance money, they haven't fixed up their earthquake damaged homes, and they've put them onto the rental market. We've got this happening. In hundreds and hundreds of cases in Canterbury. So there are some good landlords, but my goodness, there are some bad landlords. And what does the research tell us about homes that aren't insulated properly and don't have a good heating source? They say that, you know, we could reduce hospital admissions across the country if we insulated our homes to the 2008 standard by 6%. That's 3,000 children. That's evidence that the standard that is in this bill could cost the health of at least 3,000 children. That's not good enough. Nick Smith says it's too expensive to actually get landlords to upgrade their properties to the standard that we've been talking about today, the 2008 standard. Now, submitters even, most of the submitters, and we've heard a bit about the submitters today, most of them have said that insulation without heating only does half the job. And we know that most of these homes where the children are impacted by poor health outcomes, not only because the insulation standards are poor, but because the heating standards are poor too. And when you live in an environment like Auckland, where in the winter time there is an awful lot of moisture in the air, that promotes the growth of mould. And we all know what mould, particularly black mould, does to the lungs of small children. It is one of the biggest causes of respiratory conditions for children. And that's in Auckland, where, as Pamjit Palmer says, the sun shines all the time and the weather is fine. Try taking that to further south, where we get much colder conditions, and you're in a situation, thank you, Mr Speaker, where you've got some dire health conditions sitting on your doorstep. And I want to get back to that point that I made about the quality of homes, particularly in the Canterbury region, where we've got hundreds, if not thousands, of homes that have not been repaired, that have been pushed out onto the rental market. We have got a cohort of landlords in this country that do not care about anything except collecting their rent from people, and they are taking advantage of New Zealand renters, and this government is helping them do that.
Point of order.